Jupiter Broadcasting presents this show in mega stereo sound. This episode of the Linux Action Show brought to you in part by GoDaddy.com. Use the promo code Linux and save yourself some cash. And of course, from donations of people that are, it's like people get donated, you know? And it's free. It's free. It's tax exempt.
No, it's not.
No, when you donate people, it is. It's
donate people.
Right.
But
You can't, Chris, you can't put worth on person.
This week on the Linux Action Show, 2012 is here. We kick it in the face and tell you exactly what to expect all year long. Plus, we'll play back our predictions from 2011 and man up to what we got wrong. Hint, not much. Then, rumor has it an Ubuntu TV is on the way. But is it all blown out of proportion? Tune in to find out. And so much more. Oh, this week on the Linux Action Show. And welcome to the Linux Action Show. This is Season 20, Episode 1. My name is Brian. That guy over there who just decided to show up is Chris.
Hey, Brian! Check out the BeagleBone. It runs Linux.
That feels pretty good.
Yeah,
you did a nice job on that one.
Well, I've been waiting.
I was kind of worried that you'd forget to do that.
No, you kidding me? I've been saving that up.
Here's the thing. I got into the studio today, and I wanted to remind you to do that.
Yeah,
but then I'm like, you know what? No, I want to see if he screws up royally and forgets to do that.
Never.
You didn't do it.
Never.
You know what?
What?
Bro, high five.
Welcome back, dude.
Thank you.
So,
all right, continue.
All right, I'll wrap this up, and you can tell people what you've been up to. So this is the BeagleBone. It runs with an ARM 8 CPU, and of course, it's built to run frickin' Linux, boots in 89 seconds. And Brian, one of the things that you might like about this device, because, well, I'll tell you.
At 89 seconds, I'm just going to reboot that sucker repeatedly all day long just to see it.
Now, for $89, check this out. It comes with
Why do people even tell us how fast things boot anymore?
Well,
I just don't care.
I just don't care.
Guess
it's because if you're buying something like this, maybe you want to use it for embedded applications, so you want your appliance.
Things that come up pretty fast.
Yeah,
okay. All right.
But check this out, Brian. These guys are not cutting back. It's got two, Brian. 46 female. No, not 20, not 23, not 24, not 22. A 46-pin expansion headers for easy augmentation. And
46 female.
Yeah.
My favorite kind.
Exactly. So I thought you'd love that. Now, of course, it also has a 100 megabit adapter on there, supports OpenGL ES 2.0. The reason why I mention it, though, is because it's essentially a competitor to the Raspberry Pi.
Yeah.
In a sense. And this is coming from Texas Instruments. So this could be kind of an actual contender.
Yeah.
There
roughly based on the BeagleBoard.
Yeah. Well, it's like it's the successor, the BeagleBone.
The BeagleBone.
All right, B-Mail, so tell people, what have you been up to?
Oh, nothing. Just hanging around, Just, maxing, relaxing, playing some b-ball out by the school.
You took time off just to relax.
No, like I'm all right. So the quick rundown. I got my comic book. Was working on my comic book. Started a web comic. That's been a lot of fun. Been working on Illumination Software Creator. That's been a lot of fun. Started a new open source project called Lunduke SDK because
Lunduke-SDK.com,
which is basically a completely written language that uses the back end of Illumination to compile down to like a billion different platforms.
Now, is this like the next level of Illumination Software Creators?
Kind of. Okay. Here's the quick rundown because I don't want to spend too much time self-promoting, but because I've been gone.
I think people are curious where you've been.
All right. So here was the idea behind this. So what we decided was Illumination was awesome, but making it a purely visual development environment, even though it can compile down to Android and iPhone and everything else, that's awesome. But it kind of limits, who can use it. It's mostly for learning or for hobbyists or for smaller projects.
Yeah.
It's cool when it's visual, but what would be really cool is if you could make an actual written language that was fairly powerful, so you could build things like
regular humans can understand.
Big web browsers, office suites, whatever, and then compile it for any of those existing platforms. So we decided to build it on the same engine that we built Illumination on, since we figured out how to do that properly without sacrificing anything, and we're making it open source. So we're releasing what's called the Lunduke compiler, Lunduke C, and the Lunduke language. You'll notice everything's named Lunduke because that's awesome. And we're releasing that as a gigantic GPL project, and then Illumination, the next version, sits on top of that
Oh,
so that it's
that makes
mega
sense.
powerful.
Yeah.
So if you like that, go to lundukeSDK.com.
And
There's
it's
a dash in there somewhere.
kind of a good time to get involved because that lunduke-sdk.com is a wiki, and it's kind of just getting off the ground.
It's just getting off the ground, yeah. I mean,
there you go.
we're just about to release the first version of the compiler, which is written in C. And if you want to get involved. It's totally awesome. And if you want to support it, pick up a copy of Illumination.
I have
Because we're building it and all that stuff.
I have a free Android pick this week that I don't really know anyone who's not going to want this pick. And it's probably going to get pulled from the Android Market Store pretty soon. So it's one of those you're going to want to go get.
Okay.
Probably when you listen to this episode. But before we get to that, we have to say good morning to Danica over at GoDaddy.com.
Thank God.
Did you miss her, Brian?
Oh, so much.
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
okay. I have a few things I need to say.
All right.
One, I really missed you, Danica.
I know, right? I know.
2, you guys, I know, controversy, GoDaddy, oh my gosh, explosion in your head.
Oh my God.
Chris, bring that picture back up.
Danica.
All right, hold on, right here. See this what I'm pointing at right here? The people in the video version? Okay, I should point at her face, actually, instead of the rest part. But this is Danica. Danica sells you websites. Name me one other place you can go where that happens.
Danica sells you websites. That's a great point.
It doesn't happen.
That's a great point.
You need to focus on what's important. Yeah. SOPA, whatever. I don't care.
Actually, they're opposing
Danica.
that now.
Yeah, those are fine.
Yeah.
So guys, come on. Cut GoDaddy some slack.
Yeah.
How many companies do you know of?
Right.
Ones where you've bought their products and liked
Right.
them. Where you're like, you know what? Their CEO and board of directors, I agree with everything they say.
Boy.
Look at Apple. Apple is helmed by jerkwads.
Look at
half the time.
Microsoft.
Look at Microsoft. I can think of a couple of big wig Linux guys that are kind of jerk-offs.
Yeah.
I mean,
I got a story about some jerk-offs coming up.
but
actually.
I'm just saying they still can make decent stuff.
Yeah.
GoDaddy makes cool stuff.
Actually,
so what if you don't agree with something someone says?
The truth of the matter
Danica.
is GoDaddy has been, a massive supporter of Jupiter Broadcasting, but not just of Jupiter Broadcasting. Like, I don't think networks like Revision 3 would be around if it wasn't for GoDaddy, and I don't think a ton of independent podcasts would be around if it wasn't for GoDaddy.
Right.
So, in that sense, they support the web, and they support independent media production on the web at a scale that no other service provider out there supports.
Right.
And that earns them a ton of cred with me. And not to mention, just because so many of them watch the show, I talk to a lot of people there, and they're all really good people.
They've been really cool.
Yeah. So we've got a couple of codes you can use, but everybody knows that. We got the code Linux. That'll save you 10% when you check out. And the code Linux20 saves you 20% on shared hosting. And also,
which I have done like a ton of times. Lunduke SDK. It's hosted over there, .com.
Yep.
My blog, lunduke.com.
We have a series of mirrors, yeah.
A ton of mirrors, a ton of stuff's hosted over
Yeah.
there, and it's solid.
And if you have a blog and you've had some trouble maybe getting the Google search baits, they do have a search engine visibility thing. And what it does is it kind of analyzes your sites and sees what keywords you're missing or what kind of HTML tags you could add or change to get better sort of Google results, what tweaks you can make to your images and how to do them. I don't know. So I've never tried it, but if you want to try it just to see if maybe you can get yourself a little better visibility on Google, you can use that too. You'll get 20% out if you use the code SEV6.
SEV6,
Yeah.
all uppercase?
Yeah, whatever.
Or whatever.
Search engine.
And if you don't want to do
Visibility
that
6.
and you're already hosted somewhere else, a great way to get your website up in the Google rankings is just type the word Brian Lunduke onto your website.
Oh, there you go.
Repeatedly.
I didn't know
it
that.
really works great.
I got to try that.
Yeah, give it a shot.
All right, so here's my Android pick for this week. And I got it right here on my Evo, and it's from people that I think a lot of people have a ton of respect for, and I'm running one of their ROMs right now on my here phone.
Yeah.
The Clockwork mod, the Clock mod people that make a lot of the good ROMs for Android have released a tether app for free. You hook it up via USB. It gets you tethering. Doesn't matter if you have a tethering data plan or nothing. It works with Mac, Windows, or Linux. Now, I've seen a lot of success with the 10.10 variant of Ubuntu. Not so much success with 11.04, but, your results may vary. Anyways, this is a bad arse application, totally free.
Works good?
It works great. Dude, look at when you have a tethering application like this that's free and you see, like, this many 5-star reviews, like, that's not very common. And it's just all really positive stuff in here.
Yeah, look at that. That's like a 4.9 out of 5.
And I just cannot believe that the carriers won't nuke this once they wake up from their slumber. So I would expect this to be pulled from the Android market pretty soon. Because it gives you free tethering.
Right.
I mean, you could still run over on your data usage.
Yeah, you got to grab that and back up the APK for that.
Yeah.
That's solid.
It's a good one.
That's solid.
All right.
All right, well, now that I'm back, I get to do the Linux picks again.
Boom.
I'm going to go with one that I just think is generally cool and hasn't gotten enough public attention lately. Qtractor. Qtractor is a nice little Qt-based audio and MIDI editing suite,
Yeah.
and it is powerful. And
Multi-track support.
Nice.
Yeah,
It is
yeah.
a nice app, especially if you're doing the MIDI stuff. If you're working with a nice keyboard, etc., this is a pimping audio multi-track editing
Developed
suite.
on pure Qt4 C++ application framework. No Qt3 nor KDE dependencies. Uses Jack and ALSA.
Yeah.
So it looks
Yeah, it's solid.
pretty compelling.
It's
and
really,
everything, man.
really cool. I mean, I know not every one of you is going to be doing a lot of MIDI and audio editing, but for those who are, this thing is rad.
Yeah, right on. No, that's I'm going to check that one out, and it's in a lot of distros repos. I double checked. I did an app cache search. It's
Yep.
in pretty much every version of
It's
Ubuntu
everywhere.
repo, so.
Yeah.
Now, did we ever make Sickbeard a previous pick on the show, or I know we were talking about
We've
it.
talked about Sickbeard
So
before.
I released a video yesterday over at JupiterBroadcasting.com on a review of Sickbeard. So if people are interested in that, it is an open source Usenet client that you can set up. It'll go out and it's great. You just tell it the TV show. You don't have to go find RSS feeds or anything like that. You just put like Chuck in there.
Yeah.
It goes out and searches, says what format
It's
do you want it in,
ridiculous.
and it'll download it to your machine. Actually, it hands it off to a download client, like SAB, NZB, or something.
Yeah.
Then renames it, puts it in your folder structure, can tag the metadata, and you set the show once, and you never think about it again. It just shows up in your folders wherever you want.
That's so nice.
You can also just use it to organize your stuff if you don't want to pirate. And I tell you how to do that. Go check out an in-depth look on Sickbeard. It's a really cool open source app.
Man, that's nice.
Yeah.
All
All
right.
right.
How messed up is it when cool apps like this make stealing TV so much nicer than just watching TV that you pay like $100 a month for?
I know.
It's messed up.
And, the thing is, when you pay $100 a month for your TV, you don't get to watch it on any device. Like, I can't watch it on my
your
Evo,
phone.
on my Galaxy
Yeah.
Tab. Whereas if I download it, and I feel like if I'm paying every month for it,
You should be able to download it.
Yeah.
You'd think so.
and like, what's the difference
But that's
between...
the thing is you're not, it's on top of that, you also are supposed to be watching the commercials because they get the commercial revenue for it and the ratings numbers and all that. So technically you should be still at least downloading it or PVRing
I
it
do
or
do that.
something.
I do TiVo.
Because that's good then.
Yeah, I TiVo.
I think that's all right.
And
But
this is
still.
actually what I did. Because there's a way to pull your videos off TiVo too, and strip the DRM out. And one of the nice things this did is I just went through and found which episodes I'd failed to TiVo, and I knew what I was missing in my collection.
Oh,
so I
fill in
said,
the holes?
well, it can, or you can just go set your TiVo to get those, and then you
That's
just
cool.
know. Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
All right, B-Man, let's do the news.
What's new in the news this week?
All right, Brian, the top story on the news docket for this week.
It was good.
Ubuntu.
It was classic, but
Yeah.
I mean,
You want me to redo?
no,
Because, I mean, I could, like,
no,
you know.
keep doing it.
All
I
right.
mean, in the past, you've
Yeah.
done really big ones.
Well-
and I kind of thought,
You know what it is?
today's a big day.
Is I'm wearing pajamas, and I don't want our in-studio guest to know that I'm wearing pajamas. So I can't stand up. Otherwise,
can't stand up and go nuts?
I'd probably get up on the table. Yeah.
All right.
Because the mic will go like this. I can.
It will.
Yeah.
Yeah, you've done it.
Yeah.
All right. All right.
All
Well,
right.
I still appreciate it. Hey, can you tell me what's new in the news this week?
Well, Brian, our top story is Ubuntu is rumored to be, or Canonical, I suppose, if you want to use their appropriate name, is rumored to be
This is the
releasing.
name of the company that
Yeah,
they chose
yeah.
and did all the
That's
legal work on
It's like
and made
calling
their website.
Microsoft Windows. Windows is announcing, or actually, I know people that call Microsoft just Xbox. That drives me crazy. Anyways, Ubuntu is rumored to have, or it's going to be an Ubuntu-powered TV that Canonical will be unveiling
This is
at CES.
totally a rumor.
I love
This
this
is
rumor, though.
100% a rumor. Okay, the official word is Canonical will be
Yep.
unveiling
Yep.
a prototype design
Right,
for something
right.
at CES.
Right.
Here's the thing. They did not say it
Nope.
was a piece of hardware.
Nope.
They could, for all we know, be a new web browser.
Yep.
It could be a new version of Gedit that has prettier colors.
I can only hope.
We do not, it could be a toilet. We do not know.
Oh my God, that would be awesome.
Wouldn't it though?
Dude,
It would be an orange and brown toilet is the only problem.
that doesn't matter.
You'd never have to clean it.
Exactly.
That's fantastic.
So The Verge
but
is
we do
also
not know what it is.
The Verge is also running this story. They also think it's a TV concept device. The reason why this is all blowing up is because a Canonical employee was interviewed by the BBC as sort of like, here's what the Brits are bringing to CES this year. And she kind of sparked off a few different rumors with kind of dropping a few bombs in here. She said, we're launching some new products with a greater emphasis on consumer devices.
Cool.
And CES is frankly the place to do that, she says. It's a very large show, and that has pros and cons. On the downside, it's easy to get lost in the noise, but the upside is it's fundamentally an industry event, and it's pivotal one as manufacturers use it to plan their product launches for the coming year. That's the part that makes me really think it's just a concept device, though.
It's just going to be a concept device, guys.
Yeah. People, of course, though, went with TV. I'll tell you, Brian.
Well, I've also heard the phone GSM enabled tablet. There's that rumor floating around that some website nicknamed it the shuttle pad.
Yeah.
Which that's cute.
That is cute.
Cute. I like that.
I'm hopeful it is a TV because this TV market is blowing up. I'll save some of it for the prediction segment, but it's Ubuntu. If they could get some sort of Ubuntu for TV in there, they might be able to dominate before Android gets a chance to
get a foothold.
Yeah, or Apple. And I mean, Apple's working on it. Google's working on it.
I have thoughts on that. I'll also save that for the for the TV segment. But yeah, so what we're telling you is there's absolutely no news. We have zero information that's actually real on this. But at CES,
I disagree.
Be watching for Canonical to unveil a design.
I completely disagree. You know what the story is?
It could be cool.
The subtext of the story is that Canonical related stories are starting to get that Apple kind of rumor mill thing about them.
That is a good point.
And I think this is our second or third time we've seen like this happen. And that is a really good sign because it means people are sort of recognizing Canonical as a player.
As not just a player, but a player who comes out with stuff they're interested in.
Mm-hmm.
That is kind of cool.
I think that's the story. But there you go.
Man, I hope they don't screw this up. If they come out with something dumb, oh man, I'm gonna be pissed.
That is really the danger.
I'll tell you right now, Mark, Jono, and the crew over there, if you don't have something cool,
don't screw it up.
Make up something cool in the next like 2 or 3 days, and then I'll be fine.
But we both personally know they've been working on different types of prototype devices for a long time. We saw it at Ubuntu One or Ubuntu Live. That's what it was, Ubuntu Live.
Ubuntu Live,
like 3 years ago. We saw them there with Intel reps with little tablet devices before the iPad.
4 years ago.
Yeah, before the iPad ever shipped, before anything these things shipped. You and I saw people there playing with it. And Mark, at that time, we were standing right next to Mark Shuttleworth, and he was saying, "This is the future of Ubuntu."
Yeah, he was.
Yeah, so I mean, it makes sense.
And honestly, there's no other reason that they were going to sit down, build the new Unity interface, and build it themselves unless they were looking specifically to target a bunch of different form factors and devices.
I completely agree.
Needed the control over it.
All right, so let's talk about something that gives me hope for WebOS. I think we're both huge WebOS fans, and HP's recently announced intentions to open source it. Interesting article over at Forbes. It turns out WebOS is gaining some traction in healthcare. Now, I wouldn't assume it's massive, but turns out that the little tablet, the touchpad, has some pretty unique advantages for medical, and one of them is the fact that it's plastic, because they can use it around MRI devices and stuff like that. But additionally, because the operating system is accessible and they can sideload applications, and HP intends to open source it, the medical community is able to easily load not proprietary, but custom applications
custom
onto
apps.
It. And for the doctors, like if they want to load apps, they don't want to sit there and wade through iTunes and sync their library just to get something new on their iPad.
No. Yeah.
And so with HP going open source, it sort of tells the medical community that, hey, this is going to be something that you can support internally and develop your own resources for. And that is making it pick up. Yeah.
That's very cool.
I'll link in the show notes to a story over at Forbes that talks about how this one particular hospital has had great success using WebOS. So,
well, I do like that. I would like to see WebOS really make a big comeback. I'm so incredibly skeptical though at this point.
I know.
You've been burned by one OS alone 4 or 5 times. And eventually you're just like,
And it's got the stank of Migo on it a little bit because you're seeing some of that same corporate BS. But I think, HP, first of all, HP does have a great...
Stank of Migo.
HP has a great open source track record.
HP does.
And HP, could have just come out and said, we're killing it.
Yep.
And instead they said, we're going to open source. I mean, they're saying all the right stuff.
I love Hewlett-Packard.
Yeah.
Hewlett-Packard was my first job out of high school. And I love Hewlett-Packard as a company. I like them. They're cool guys. They try hard. I mean, they're not cool guys. Let's be honest. They'd be terrible at a party. But they're great pocket protecting, old bearded, large men. They really do have a lot of those kinds of guys there. And they know Unix and they know open source and they do a really good job. It's just WebOS that they keep screwing up. And it's not the engineers, it's their executives. But their new executives I guess their new executives are doing a better job of it.
I think it's now it might be our best shot for WebOS to survive because the climate is a little different even in the last couple of years. Portable devices and having a solid portable low power ARM, happy OS is extremely important. That's a major asset to have as a company. Yeah. And then B, HP's heyday when they're not pumping out Unix systems, HP makes all of their hay from Windows boxes. But let's be honest, I mean Windows is probably only going to be a premier selling operating system for another 5-10 years. And HP is a longevity company. They have to look out past what Windows is going to get them, and they need to own their own platform. And if it's not WebOS, which is a fantastic operating system, if they can't make that work for them, then they deserve to go down the toilet.
Well, really, and if you think about it, the way Windows is going, Windows is moving away from their roots as a C and C# shop. They're moving purely to a JavaScript shop. So they're pushing, for Windows 8, JavaScript apps for everything. So if you think about that, that's WebOS.
They're minimizing they're minimizing the dependency on Windows by doing that.
They're basically what Microsoft is saying is here developers of the world, please make it really easy to port your apps to WebOS.
Yeah.
And so HP is just, if HP would be really bat bleeping stupid to not pimp the hell out of WebOS right now. And they are, you know, you've been burned a couple times. Anyway,
exactly.
I'm going to wait. I want to get excited.
Keep an eye on it. It'd be interesting.
See.
I bet throughout this season 20, we'll see a few more big developments regarding WebOS. So we'll keep covering them. All right, let's talk a little bit about a downer before we keep moving right along. And this one's about Mandriva. It looks like Mandriva might actually be coming finally to an end. They have a round of investors that they needed to have another cash infusion to keep going. Yeah. And one of the key players, his name is Lin Plus, I believe, is refusing to make that contribution. And if they don't make that contribution, they're going to cease operation. And
January 16th.
Yeah.
Is supposedly the day. This is from a forum post from one of the guys working there.
Yeah.
And
now, of course, we still have Magia or Magia, however you want to say it, which is a community fork of Mandriva.
Yeah.
So it's not like we're losing anything major, but it's sad to see this corporate bureaucracy get in the way of open source, source offerings.
It's just business and the ability to make money, and it makes sense. It's sad because Mandrake, I mean, come on.
I agree.
That was so many of us. That was our first long-term installed Linux distro.
Me too. Yeah.
Oh,
I know that's what a lot of people said on our Reddit. Dude, the Linux Action Show Reddit. I don't think that was here last time you were here.
No, that's new since
How
then.
awesome is that?
That's way cool.
You can go
I love that.
Go to linuxactionshow.reddit.com. I'm going to try to give credit to the people in there because they're so awesome. I know Metal Freak's name definitely jumped out to me. I think he found the couple of the news stories in here. And there's a ton of really great people in there.
It's awesome.
And I just want to thank you guys because not only is it a great community to interact with and fun, and you know they were ribbing you a little bit earlier.
They gave me a little bit of ribbon.
Yeah. And it is just a really great spot. So go to linuxactionshow.reddit.com, join the community, vote up stories, submit links, all that kind of stuff. It helps us decide what to put in the show.
Honestly, it helps us decide what you guys think is important, but even more so, it makes sure we don't miss anything obviously awesome. Because I mean, my RSS feed is full of everything, and I scour through it, but there's so much stuff. It's really easy to hit the spacebar, and miss something way cool that might be, not a big headline grabber.
Well, and there's been a few different stories that I read and said, not going to cover it. And then when I saw it got voted up on the Reddit page, like, oh, well, okay, the audience actually... This is big. They want me to talk about this. So it's been really handy.
Really cool.
All right, B-Man, let's talk about something that's fairly interesting development here. We always picture the web platform wars between Apache and IIS and how heated it is. We always kind of picture it as a super tight race.
It's like a two-man fight, really.
Yeah, well, it turns out it's a three-man fight now. Nginx has overtaken Microsoft's IIS as the #2 web server online. And this is a great web server. We went into extensive detail on it in the last episode of TechSnap, episode 39. We did an Nginx versus Apache episode to kind of show what their different strengths were between them. And I got to tell you, from Alan's explanation of Nginx, it sounds awesome. And I went to look.
It does sound pretty cool.
I went to look up how you load it on Linux, and they got official repos for every major distribution just to get you rolling. I mean, it makes sense they're taking off. Yeah. And it's awesome to see somebody else out there, another open source, I believe it's BSD licensed web server, punching Microsoft in the gut. Because I do not want this world to be overtaken by IIS. Now, the metric they use to compare is actual active websites and not just park domains, which is really more legit.
Yeah.
So cool. So props to Nginx, and if you guys want to play with that, go check out that TechSnap and then go have some fun. All right, B-Man.
Pretty cool.
I think one of the very first stories we covered on the Linux Action Show,
a long time ago.
5.5 years now, or is it 5 years?
It'll be 6 years this coming June.
Okay, so was the one laptop per child project.
Yep.
That was maybe story one.
And we were so excited about it. When we went down to the very first Ubuntu Live we went to and OzCon and everything, we got to get our hands on one. We took pictures.
There's a bunch there.
And we freaked out. We're like, look at this green little thing that looks a lot like the Android mascot before the Android mascot existed, because it had the little ears that popped up that were green, and it just looked like, anyway.
Oh yeah, because the antennas.
It looks like a little Android mascot, but
right.
Everyone was freaking out over it, and everyone was sitting around trying to type on the really cramped keys and the really slow running version of Fedora.
It was bad.
And then they were loading up the little squeak small talk environment, going, look what you can do with this, and no one knew what to do with it.
Yeah.
But man, was it cool.
So what was the coolest thing in your estimation about that original prototype that we talked about? Not the shipping unit, but the original.
The coolest thing I thought about the original prototype, honestly, was the hand cranking power.
Hand crank is back, baby. They're putting the hand crank in the One Laptop Per Child 3.0. It's got an 8-inch tablet. They're going to sell it in some countries for $100. It's going to have an Android option or a Linux option. The lid flips off, has a solar panel built into it.
That is bitchin'.
I know, right? I know. And check this out.
$100 for a solar-powered damn tablet that will dual boot Android or Linux.
Yeah, it can be charged via hand crank or the solar panel.
Wait. Actual hand crank? Not. Okay, what I was reading was just a solar panel.
No, actual hand crank this here. Check this out. The 2-watt tablet can get 10 minutes of runtime from 1 minute of cranking.
Oh, man, I'm going to crank the hell out of that tablet.
I know, right? It's awesome.
$100.
Well, okay.
I'm going to buy like a ton of them.
Here's the thing. I'm
gonna have 2, and I'm gonna be cranking with both hands.
No, here's the problem. They apparently, now this is an interview with The Verge. They told The Verge that the tablet can be configured as low as $100, but it won't necessarily have the Pixel QI screen, which is that really cool screen.
Yeah, the Pixel QI.
It'll have a kind of a clunkier LCD,
That's okay.
And other premium components will be sacrificed.
What?
The other problem is the XO laptops won't be sold directly to consumers or parents, and they won't be produced until orders come in bulk from countries.
Oh.
But they said all that stuff about the last one.
That's true, and then they eventually did the buy one, give one thing.
Which is awesome.
Where it was like $300, and you buy one, and then it gives another one to like a kid in Ethiopia who'd never heard of peanut butter, and now all of a sudden he has a laptop, which is cool.
Yeah.
Oh,
now,
I want this.
It's not like the prototypes they showed off in December of 2009.
You know what? Those prototypes were lame.
Well, come on. Who thought those things were going to ship,
Dude,
right?
That
was like all glass. I know.
Those were so like Stanley Kubrick 2001
Why were
looking
they
stuff.
showing it, though? That's what I don't understand.
I don't either. But the new one they're talking about, great. Now, I just don't care about another Android tablet. But they're talking about a nice little ARM-powered tablet that runs quote-unquote Linux.
Yeah, it's got a Marvell chip in it that's going to run about 1 gigahertz. It's like an ARM 7 series.
I'm going to ask you straight up. How many Linux devices do you have with a hand crank?
None.
How many Linux devices do you have that are solar powered and a hand crank?
None.
I want that.
I know. Oh, and it's like the ultimate. It's got a USB port on it too, man. So you stick like a little USB Rode podcaster mic on there, and when the civilization collapses, you can keep podcasting.
Dude. I know. Could you pull power off the USB?
Probably.
So you could plug in, say, your phone.
You might have
into
to
the,
crank
like, USB
more.
host mode, and then just crank, and just power everything.
Could you imagine, like, a few years now with kids, and the only thing we have to charge all our devices is one laptop?
Laptop per shot.
Daddy, can you crank the laptop some more?
Dude, 1 minute for an hour?
No, 10 minutes. 1 minute gets you 10 minutes. I know, it's not bad.
So we just have one extra kid, and that's that kid's
Be
job.
like, I can only respond to a couple emails today. I only cranked it one time.
Awesome.
Yeah.
That's friggin' awesome.
All right, one more.
This thing better ship in bulk.
I know.
If they fail at this, I'm going to be the saddest little dude ever, because that's so cool.
And let's be honest, there is a high...
I know.
Yeah.
I know. But it's going to happen.
Positive thoughts.
That's just positive thoughts. Positive
All right.
thoughts.
Last news story for the day is a bit of good news.
I don't even care what it is. I'm excited. This is the best day ever.
Dream Linux 5 is out, and the news here is they're actually getting such a great response that their bandwidth mirrors shut them off because of the heavy load they're getting. Now, if you guys aren't familiar with Dream Linux, it's a distro based on Debian testing, and they pimp themselves as like a multimedia box.
All right, background on this. Dream Linux started as a Linux distro with the point of looking and acting a lot like Mac OS X. That was its goal.
Right, that's right.
Now, so that's why it has the dock along the bottom, a single gnome bar across the top. They tried to kind of make things look nice icon-wise. They wanted it to be very Mac OS X nice looking, which is fair. I mean, that's fine. I know a lot of people who try to make their Linux desktops look like that.
Sure.
They started like that. They have since decided, you know what? That's kind of not really got a lot of legs to it. I mean,
Right.
how many people really care about having that? No, like 4. There's like 4 people who really want that.
Right.
So they hit that mark. They got all those 4 people. And they're like, you know what? Let's make it a little cooler. Let's focus on the multimedia stuff. Let's bundle in a lot of cool multimedia apps. But they are keeping that OS 10 inspired design thing going on, which is pretty cool. I mean, it's all right.
I like they're packing it with a little mini DLNA server, and they've got like a music streaming box in there that's compatible with the DAP protocol. So there's basically everything you need built into this distro to throw it on a multimedia PC and hook it up to your TV.
And rock and roll. They did a great job.
Yeah.
I mean, it looks really nice. I am not running this at all. I've downloaded the ISO and I've done nothing with it.
I've taken my eye more towards these slightly, I don't want to call them alternative distros, but non-mainstream ones, because I'm just not 100% thrilled where any of the big desktops are going right now. So I'm curious to see where the smaller guys can go, and they're all attempting to differentiate each other in some really interesting ways.
I think so too. I think this one's pretty cool. Honestly, this one doesn't have what I want, but I think this is really cool. If you're switching from a Mac over to Linux, this might be a cool way to go. Or if you just want to like freak out a bunch of people at work who are running on Macs, just install this and kind of configure it like they have it. What if you just see how long it takes them to notice?
What if you have a friend or family that has like an old Power PC Mac and they need to migrate off something and they can't afford to buy another Mac? This would be kind of like a stepping stone for them.
I don't think this will run on Power PC.
No, probably. But I'm saying UI-wise, you can go get them.
You go get them
like a cheap PC.
Super cheap. Hell, a $100 netbook and away you go.
Yeah, it runs on only i686. And so I have one more request. I've seen a bunch of people mention it in the chat room. And everybody knows that we stream the Linux Action Show live Sundays 10 a.m. Pacific at jblive.tv, right?
Oh, yeah.
And you can join the chat room. And a lot of people are asking, are you guys going to talk about Cinnamon Desktop? And this is a new project initiative from Mint. Let us know if you guys want us to cover that. Right now, I don't have any plans, but leave comment. You don't feel you're not so hot on it?
I wouldn't mind talking about it.
Yeah.
I guess how many positive things I'm going to say about it.
All right, well, that's fine. I think whatever it is, it is. People want it, but if you want us to review it, look and see the chat room's like, yes. Of course, we know the chat room does, but I want to also hear from the thousands of other people who watch the show.
If it helps you guys any, there's going to be at least one comment about it in the predictions that are coming up.
All right, there you go. Speaking of that, B-Man, let's get to those predictions. Sweet. All right, everyone, it's time to tell you what the heck is going to happen in 2012, but before we do that, we have to see what we predicted for 2011 and either pat ourselves on the back or own up to it.
Probably pat ourselves on the back.
Probably be, man.
Clickety, clickety.
All right, play the first clip. We'll see how we did.
First one on you, and this echoes a comment left on one of the last shows. I think there's going to be an ARM desktop. Now, the commenter thinks it's going to be an ARM laptop, but I think it's going to be a mainstream distributor, and I think it'll be like an HP or a Dell or somebody who's in real tight with NVIDIA, because Tegra 2 is ARM-based.
I totally agree. I think
it's going to be Ubuntu on there.
I think what we're going to have is we're going to have we're going to an ARM-based Ubuntu tablet this year.
Yep.
I think we're going to have an ARM-based Ubuntu laptop this year, and I think we'll have an ARM-based some sort of distro, probably Ubuntu. One of those little like net top boxes, things that currently have an Atom chip in it.
Now the reason
I think we'll get one.
We should clarify.
All right. So we didn't really get that one. We didn't really get that one right.
No,
but it should have happened.
That one.
It should have happened.
Yeah.
I think it could happen in 2012 too.
Yeah.
It seems like everything's positioned for it, and ARM has just gotten more and more dominated.
That's
dominates more.
So
and more.
we want this to happen, but it didn't happen.
Yeah.
We willed it to happen.
And you kind of have things like Grey Wolf is pointing out. You have like the Asus Transformer.
Yeah, well, no, I mean, you nailed it in that clip. You know, with the Tegra 2 and everything else that's happening, it kind of makes sense. We got a lot of really cool ARM-based tablets running Android.
Yeah. Not Ubuntu.
Not Ubuntu.
I would like to see
or
that.
any other Linux distro. Just Android.
I know. You ready? You want to play our next prediction? All right, hit it, B-Man.
All right, wait.
What?
I don't even know what this prediction is.
No, I know.
But I'm going to go on a limb and say I said something insightful and accurate.
Let's check it out. Hit play. Let's do it.
I think Unity is going to ship in Ubuntu 11.04.
Yep.
It's going to be all right.
It's not going to be default.
I think... Oh, really?
I don't think it's going to be default.
Yeah?
I think it'll be really close to be ready, and I think it'll be cool, and I think it'll be worthwhile.
You think it'll be default in 11.10?
I think it'll be default in 11.10.
And I think it's going to actually be really popular in 11.10, and I think the Ubuntu 11.10 will be a flagpole in the ground where desktop projects like Rhythmbox and Banshee and FSpot are going to have to decide at what level they want to integrate with you.
All right, B-Man. What do you think?
What I think I meant to say was...
I was pretty right in that one.
Yeah, you gotta know that one. So obviously it shipped in 1104.
Yeah. Although should it have?
But we said it sucked back then. And really it shouldn't have. It got better later, which we were right about.
Yeah, yeah. It's still though, I thought by now it would have been more accepted, and it definitely that has not happened.
Yeah, I was actually a little surprised by that.
Yeah. So it was only a half right prediction on my part, but
yeah. I'm going to say I had about 20% accuracy on that one.
I have a feeling this next one was pretty good. I don't remember exactly.
No. Well, this one, see, here's the cool thing. You get 2 predictions in a row where I kind of bone it. The third one is going to be exactly right. There is no possible way that I'm wrong on this
hit
one.
Let's do it.
So if we're talking about Unity,
Yeah.
let's talk about Wayland.
Okay.
So there's already been a lot of talk about moving over to Wayland. Instead of X11, X11's old and busted, Wayland's the new hotness, right?
That's what I've been told.
So we already know that, it's obviously not going to be by default in 1104 of Ubuntu. None of the other distros are going to make it by default in the next couple of months.
So none of the next, you think you're claiming none of the next shipping distros?
So none of the next shipping distros. I'm going to go out on a limb and say none of the big distros are going to ship it at all this year. There's a potential of offering, say, maybe during some of the beta cycles.
Why is that?
The ability for people to install Wayland and use Wayland for development purposes.
That would be cool.
But I do not believe that any distro is going to be shipping Wayland by default.
Do you think it's just not there?
Any big one. It's just not there yet.
Good job, B-Man. Nice. Well done.
That feels good.
You called that one.
Yes, I did.
Yeah. And do you want to give your Wayland prediction for this year? Just want to stick it out there?
No, I'm gonna wait.
Okay.
You guys got to wait for my official Wayland prediction. Just a moment.
Good job on that.
But yeah, no. Come on.
All right,
Wayland wasn't ready this year.
Should we play our next clip?
Let's play the next clip. Wait a minute. What do you think? This next clip, right or wrong?
I think we hit a right stretch at some point. I think
we're right here on out. We nailed all these. We nailed all these.
I always go right.
Rock and roll.
Migo's going to ship.
This is what I want to talk about.
We're gonna have Migo devices shipping at least one. Now I'm only saying I can predict that one will ship.
It's a Nokia device.
I'm going to say a Nokia device will ship with Migo, and it will ship as a phone, tablet-y type device this year, first half of this year.
Whoa, really?
And it will be cool. We will review it.
The first half?
We will give it. I'm going to say it's for the first half of this year. I'm not first quarter. I'm talking like. Sometime by like summer.
Okay. Say June-ish.
And it will be awesome. We will give it 12 stars out of 5.
Buy one? Do you buy this phone?
I potentially buy it.
I think I potentially do too.
Sales are going to be awful, and Migo will go away after another, say, 2 years.
Whoa!
So you were a little off the mark, but you were basically dead on. I mean, like, you got the 2-year part wrong. I mean, it got killed way sooner than that, unfortunately.
Man, I thought I was being a negative Nancy when I did that.
You saw my reaction, like, whoa,
dude! How could I possibly have known that Nokia was gonna totally go all turncoat?
I know. That was
screw everything.
That was pre-Windows 7 phone announcement plans.
Not by much though.
No.
Like literally, I think it was weeks later they came out with that announcement, and it was like, oh, fine,
yeah.
Fine,
pretty nuts. All right, I think we got one more in there. You want to play?
That was it.
Oh, that was no. Was it?
It stopped at that point.
Oh, okay, good.
Hold on. Let me check.
No, I think you're right. No, you're right. If it stopped, it stopped.
All right. Yeah.
So let's lay out our 2012 predictions then. You ready?
All right. I want you to read the first prediction because you put this prediction in our show notes. We were kind of working off this collaborative document.
Yep.
You put a prediction in. This was the very first prediction we made, and then I follow it with mine.
And awesome stuff. You turn on the speaker when you get a chance because we don't need to hear it. I would say the very first thing that I think will be a big mark on the industry is Google TV. I think Google TV is going to go big this year.
Okay.
You don't think so?
No. I think that Google TV will end 2012 being just as irrelevant as Google TV was by the end of 2011.
I don't disagree with you on that at all. I think it's just...
Oh, they'll ship something. But I mean, come on, who cares? Who cares if they ship something?
Well, I mean, I know the new rev release has gotten better, and if it came embedded on a TV, it is sort of just going to ship by default, kind of like how 3D ships by default. But I just don't really foresee TV manufacturers spending the money on components necessary to make it a good Google TV experience.
Let me ask you a question. If you went out right now and you saw 2 beautiful Panasonic TVs with gorgeous blacks and great quad HD pictures that just blow your mind.
You think they'll call 4K quad HD?
One, they better, because that's an awesome
That
name.
is awesome.
Yeah. Or that or Lunduk.
Dude, maybe you just predicted that.
Dude, Lunduk HD. Because I hear a lot of cool people are just naming things after me now.
Okay.
Okay, so two TVs side by side.
All right.
One costs $3,000, but it's the best TV you've ever seen. The other one to the right costs $4,000, and it's the same TV, but it has Google TV in it. Which one do you buy?
Well, I wouldn't probably get it because I'm more of a set-top box guy because then I can interchange the set-top boxes and my TV just stays the display.
There's the thing.
I agree.
I don't think it's going to go anywhere.
I don't think it'll be that big of a difference. I think Google will do whatever it takes to make it a $50, $80, $100, $200 difference. Maybe at most a $300 difference.
But here's the thing. A lot of TVs are shipping internet powered.
Mm-hmm.
Those internet powered TVs have really, really cheap hardware in them. Like small amount of RAM, low processors, like 16 megs of flash storage. Just ridiculous.
Maybe
that in order to make Google TV and Android 4 basically run really well, they have to put $80 to $100 worth of new hardware in, design it anew. That's going to jack up their prices, and they're not going to be willing to do that unless every manufacturer is doing that.
And I think the only way Google could guarantee that it's a good user experience is if they mandate, sort of like Windows does. You have to you have to get this type of processor for the Windows Phone 7.
Windows Phone 7, right?
They should do that for Google TV. And then maybe you might see something. I mean,
it's not going to happen.
They'll sell it on the basis that it has Netflix and the fact that you can download Angry Birds from the market. You could download maybe an HBO app. They have that for Google TV.
Well, hey, and really, with how successful the standalone set-top box for Google TV have been, I don't see how it can't take off.
We'll see next week at CES, though, if people announce it.
I don't think it's going anywhere.
You put in here Google will release Android 5.0 with a whole new UI.
Yep.
Now, did you see that they're mandating an ice cream sandwich that all manufacturers ship? At least the what is it called, the Hollow theme or whatever it is.
Yeah.
So you think they're gonna just shoot all that out the window, huh?
Of course. How many times have they already shot everything out the window? Like 11 million.
Okay.
Every year, Google releases what seems like roughly every year a brand new virtual machine and a brand new UI.
I was hoping
almost every year.
I'm hoping with ice cream sandwich they're kind of slowing down.
You'd think.
Yeah, we'll see.
But they haven't shown any sign of slowing down yet.
You got an X11 prediction in here.
All right. Yeah. So this just follows on our last year's prediction. We're not going to be using Wayland this year either. I mean, Wayland's cool. Wayland's
you don't even think it's not even gonna ship?
Well, it'll ship, but with very 3 tiny little distros are going to use it, and maybe Fedora. But I count that as like one of the tiny little distros.
Okay.
I mean, no one's really going to be using Wayland this year, and that's not saying anything bad about Wayland. I'm just saying it's not going to be picked up as the de facto this year because look at it this way. Ubuntu has big plans. There's big plans for Ubuntu.
Yep.
They've got a lot to work on that has nothing to do with the window manager or with X11. Look at Mint. Mint wants to do all this crazy stuff where they're making their whole own ecosystem now. They don't have time to deal with Wayland. I mean, look at SUSE. The SUSE guys are constantly busy doing new stuff. They don't have time to deal with Wayland. I don't see them doing it.
You could be right. It is a pretty big transition. You're right about that. So it is a hard thing to get done.
The only way I see this happening is if somehow Wayland makes loading JPEGs significantly faster than it currently is, and then I think Fedora and a few others will pick it up.
Did you see we had somebody write in and actually gave us a reason why libturbo.jpg and Fedora was... Yeah.
That's ridiculous.
All right.
Seriously, guys.
Let's talk a little bit about... let's talk about Microsoft. Windows Phone sales will be incredibly slow, causing Nokia to come up with a new strategy.
Yeah.
And there will be much laughter.
Yeah, absolutely.
They're giving spiffs now to sales agents. Did you see that?
I did.
That's nuts.
Yeah, that's crazy, isn't it?
I don't know why, though. I don't know, though. Really, maybe Google or Apple does it on the back channel, and I just don't know about it. It just feels kind of shady.
Doesn't it?
A little bit.
I guess it's not so much shady. I mean, that sort of thing happens.
It feels like the product should be able to sell itself.
But there's the thing. I don't think sales probably won't be terrible, but they're not going to be strong enough to support all of Nokia. Nokia's going to have to come up with some whole new thing to build a lot of positive press. They're going to come up with a brand new strategy, which may or may not be around a random Linux distribution. And who knows what the hell that would be at this point, right?
It's very possible. It's very possible. Because I still think your long-term strategy has to be to have your own operating system, sort of like Samsung has Bada, even though they sell a ton of Android phones.
Right.
But Samsung actually makes most of their money from the Bada-based cell phones.
No, I see it entirely possible that Nokia comes along and does a Symbian/Qt-based thing, and that's their future. I think that'd be ridiculous. But at this point, we'll see. I bet by the end of the year, they'll have a new big announcement, and everyone will make fun of them.
The Raspberry Pi will ship, and it will sell out faster than they can make them.
Absolutely.
And you know, did you know that they put up a few of the first production test models up for eBay auction?
Huge.
And I was like, all right, I'll check it out. I got all ready just in time. I hit refresh, 1,000 euros.
Yeah.
I hit refresh again, 1,600 euros. I'm like, I'm out.
Yeah, I'm out. I was willing to go to like $100. Yeah, I'm like, all right, credit cards ready, let's go.
Did you try to get one of the touchpads that went on auction too?
Oh yeah.
eBay totally boned me, man. I was there, I was ready, I had it buy now going, and then eBay crapped out, and I lost my opportunity to get a $99 touchpad.
Yep. I
so
lost that
bummed.
one too.
I
lost that one too. But yeah, the little Raspberry Pis, I think are going to be rad. They're so cheap. I think that nerds everywhere are going to want to buy like 4 of them at once. Because seriously, if you go to buy a Raspberry Pi, how much are they selling for?
Like $25.
$25. You're not going to buy one because the shipping and handling to send you a $25 Raspberry Pi is going to be like $8.
And
so you're going to think, well, give me like 4.
Yeah.
Put 4 in a box and send them to me. Because honestly, don't you want one in every room? Don't you want one in your pocket? Don't you want a couple in your drawer in case a few of them die or get wet or something like that?
Exactly.
Of course you do. So they're going to sell like 1 million of them.
I don't doubt it. If they can get them, if they can get them manufactured, they can actually
the
do
chat
it.
room says $35 for the Ethernet enabled one.
Okay,
So
well,
one with a little Ethernet
yeah,
jack on it. Come on, you're going to get that.
That'd be what you want.
You're going to build these little tiny servers all over the place. You're going to take them to school. You're going to have great pranks with them. Of course, you're going to sell them.
This next prediction, I'm pretty much on board with. Mint will continue to gain popularity, then suddenly drop down significantly, mirroring PC Linux OS's rise and then fall.
Yeah.
What do you think will take its place? Ubuntu 12.10? What?
I think Ubuntu is going to do pretty well. I actually have been thinking about it a bit, and I haven't included in the notes here, and I really should add it here, so we've got it written down somewhere for time and all eternity. But I think this year is going to mark the first year that OpenSUSE is going to gain more than a couple of percentage points. I don't think it's going to take over the world, but OpenSUSE has been sitting pretty steady at about 10% of the Linux market share.
Do you think it's going to be like an organic thing? People out there kind of like me looking for their new home?
I think so. Yeah, I don't think it's going to be anything that the OpenSUSE guys do. They do a great job.
It's just all they've done finally gets them to the place to be ready for
it. They've been steady and they've been consistent, and with all the changes going on in the world, I think people are going to be looking around and saying, okay, I'm going to give OpenSUSE a try.
Yeah.
And I think they're going to uptick to maybe 15%.
You know, the last review here on the show, I was just super impressed by it. I mean, really a premier desktop distribution. Yeah. So
they do a good job, and I think Mint will stay around as pretty big, just like PC Linux OS is still big. They're still a top 10 distro, but I don't think they're going to be the #1 like they were for a little while.
Let's talk about this Intel prediction. Intel will start another new Linux distro or join up with a group, completely forgetting about Moblin, Migo, and Tizen.
Yeah. This is just what they do.
I can see it.
Every year.
It's like
damned year.
It's like we've got a new processor architecture. Let's make a Linux distro around it.
And here's the great thing. They really don't. When was the last time Intel sat around and was like, here's a brand new architecture?
No, the Atom processor, Brian, is completely built up from the ground for power optimization.
It's not basically the same thing as a 586. No! I mean, come on, guys. They're going to do that.
Let's talk about Red Hat. Red Hat will make more money, and Fedora will continue to lose market share. That's a pretty safe one.
That's a safe one. Fedora is really good at making money, and Red Hat's good at making money. Yeah. Fedora is good at losing market share.
There you go.
They're going to keep doing it.
They're play to their strengths, right? Canonical, and this is one of those ones I'm a little nervous about putting out on the air because I could be eating this one.
Yeah.
Canonical will transition away from the desktop. Ubuntu will continue on, but will receive less and less love from Canonical. We will complain much.
Yeah.
This one's sort of predicated on that Ubuntu TV rumor, Ubuntu tablet. Canonical seems like a dog searching for a meal, and once they find that meal, they're just going to go whole hog in that direction.
Yeah.
And whatever it is that they get a ton of traction with, that's what they'll focus on.
Here's the thing. And I was thinking the same thing. You wrote this down, and I'm like, I'm glad Chris wrote this one down because I didn't want to write it down. I'm like, I don't want to commit to this, but I think you're right.
Yeah.
And here's why. Mark freaking Shuttleworth. This is a man who sits around and goes, I have $1 trillion. You know what I like? Outer space.
Yeah.
So he flies to freaking Russia, lives in Star City for like 80 bajillion years just so he can strap himself to a rocket and fly into space. This is a man who decides that he wants something, pays a ton of money, and gets it.
Whatever it takes.
Whatever it takes.
Yeah, I mean,
so if he decides we're going to be on tablets and TVs over for the next 5 years, that is what's going to happen in Mark's world.
Interesting. And I could see that. I think the thing they're looking at the TV market could be the tablet market is sort of being dominated already by Android and Apple, but primarily Apple.
Yeah.
And it's just going to be a really big uphill battle to get into that. But TVs, still for the plucking.
Yeah.
Nobody's really totally dominating yet.
It's open.
So. All right.
It's free and open.
Next prediction I threw in there, and this one I'm pretty confident about because you're already starting to see it line up in other features of distros, so it's pretty safe.
This is going to happen.
But ButterFS...
We might as well even just report this as a news item, but just not put a date on it.
But yeah, ButterFS will become the default file system on all the popular Linux distros.
Yep.
Fedora will ship with a major ButterFS bug, and Chris and Brian will complain bitterly.
Yeah, we will get really upset.
Yeah.
We will get all red in the face. One of us might even froth the mouth a little bit, and that's going to happen. That's just going to happen.
Yeah, and then we'll get a bunch of emails saying, if you don't like it, you should submit code to fix it. Why don't you file out a bug report?
Yeah, the only chance that this doesn't happen is if all the Fedora people watch this show and get a stick up their butt that they will not ship a broken version of ButterFS.
That is the problem with making this prediction is now it's sort of like we've just altered time.
We will get like 1 million emails. See, here's you know what I bet's going to happen?
Yeah.
We're going to get 1 million emails after it ships
and there won't be
Fedora,
a bug.
and there won't be a bug.
Yeah.
And then a few months later, they'll find out there was a bug, and that will be extra great.
Yeah, that would be the icing.
I'm going to say right now, that's all going to happen.
All right, the next prediction in defense of Mint's growth. And to directly appease the Linux Action Show, Ubuntu 1204 will be great. Right? Just to get us to shut up.
Yeah, they do want to appease us a bit.
And just say, all right, you guys have Cinnamon, you guys have Mate. Well, check out 1204, kaboom! And it'll just be pretty great.
Well, I think 1204 is going to be pretty good.
Yeah.
I think they're going to do a great job. I want to actually take this moment.
All right.
And I want to talk a little bit about Cinnamon. Because we mentioned Mint's going to go up, and then Mint's going to come back down.
Okay.
I'm going to say right now, Cinnamon, of course, is their fork of GNOME 3.
Or is it? Yeah, right.
They're forking GNOME 3. Now, people are forking GNOME 2 because they want to keep GNOME 2.
Mm-hmm.
Mint is forking GNOME 3 because they don't want GNOME 3.
Well, to be honest, a lot of people don't want GNOME 3. And if they could integrate the features that people do want from the traditional desktops into the newer platform...
Here's the problem. All the things they want to implement already exist in the form of tiny little script patches because GNOME 3 is the most ridiculously customizable desktop I've ever used.
Right.
So
it will become the battle between that kind of stuff and just a lot of extensions. And the GNOME guys have already got a great website you can go to. You can get GNOME extensions, super easy to install.
Beautiful. You covered that, right?
Yep.
Yeah, it's a great website. One click, boom. It adds all the little JavaScripts and whatnot. It adds applets and bars and all sorts of stuff.
And so it's going to become a battle between that and the direction Mint's coming. I think.
So this leads into why Mint is going to fail horribly is they're trying to go it alone like Canonical is. They're basically saying we're not part of the ecosystem anymore. And granted, their code's all available. I'm not saying they're a big walled off garden, but they're trying to do something where they're taking what other people are doing, forking it, not just adding tweaks and patches, but forking stuff to create a whole new experience, and they don't have the resources to back that up. So they're going to do a proper crap job of it. It's going to fail.
That or you think, I mean, it's definitely a possibility. I agree. It could be.
I mean, why? Why do you need it?
I could go on record and say you're wrong, but I'll go on record and say I think you could be right. It's a very fine line they have to walk. And they also have to very carefully meter how much time they devote to that versus maintaining their distributions. So we'll see.
Yeah, I think it's going to go south. It's going to go south.
This next prediction is more of a hope because I don't like these guys, but I predict that Oracle will become less and less relevant in the second half of 2012. That they'll sort of, they're just in everything right now, but they'll sort of start to pull back and refocus on what Oracle actually makes money at and stop pissing off the community. I hope.
It'd be nice.
And then as a result, they'll sort of become a little bit more irrelevant. I'm curious to also see where the whole Google and Oracle
the Java lawsuits go. Yeah. I have no idea where that's going to go. I'm not ready to go on record with any of that because I have no idea. One thing I will say though is when Oracle came out with their branch of Fedora that was basically
Unbreakable Linux
that no one wants to use, but this still exists. That kind of went to irrelevancy. So pretty much everything Oracle does so far in the Linux world goes to irrelevancy.
Yeah, I mean when they buy their way and they sort of just gain relevancy, but I think they'll sort of lose that.
Here's the problem we've got now though. They've got VirtualBox, they've got Java, they've got MySQL. Yeah. So those three things alone, I mean, even if all of them are, oh my God, Open Office. I mean, sure, most of us are using LibreOffice at this point.
Yeah.
Sure, there's branches of the other stuff. But come on, they've got their fingers in some of the most vital projects available.
I think some of that will pull back.
Oh,
I hope. God, I hope. And if nothing else, MySQL will sort of, you're already starting to see a lot of large websites
moving over to Couch and everything else.
Yeah, so that'll just start happening a lot too. So it might just happen through that process. One last, I thought this prediction might actually come true today, which would just blow my mind because it's 2012, so it would be accurate. Someone will send in an email or a video of a proposal to a significant other on 2012 on the Linux Action Show, and we will read that proposal on air for a couple. Could have happened today with Awesome Sauce, but didn't happen. I would say, though, if you want to do that, email it to Angela@JupiterBroadcasting.com. Otherwise, we'll probably miss it because we're bad with email.
Well, I don't read my email. I read my headlines of the emails until I find someone with a lot of profanity in it, and then I read that one.
It feels like it's time. It feels like it's time to get a couple married here on the show, so let's do it.
That's ridiculous.
Right?
That's ridiculous. But you know what? Yes.
Yeah.
That is going to happen.
I
Either
so.
that or someone will request a divorce. A life-changing event will be proposed.
I just like the idea. And we can bring two Linux-loving nerds together. Then,
I do like that a lot. Yeah.
Great.
So really, the gist about this is there could be a lot of great stuff. There could be a lot of bad stuff. And there's going to be a lot of stuff that just isn't going to ship.
Yeah.
That's kind of the long and short.
And we'll get a whole mouthful of it next week, right? CES is next week. So we'll be digging through the CES stories and looking for any Linux-related news.
Yep.
So you guys can get that, because I don't think that'll probably be covered much other places.
Honestly, next week could be a really exciting week.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we'll
CES is going to be fun.
All right. Well, there you have it, everyone. That's what's going to happen in 2012.
And that brings us to the end of this week's broadcast. I want to thank everyone for tuning in. And just as a little quick aside, if you do like comic books, go over to roadsidehank.com, roadsignhank.com.
Roadside.
There's Roadside Hank.
I think you said road sign, man.
Roadside Hank.
Roadside.
Sign.
Oh, okay.
Road
all right.
sign,
I guess you would probably know.
Not roadside. Like Hank isn't just sitting on the side of the road.
It's roadsignhank.com.
Sign Hank.
I love
like a road sign.
Yeah.
So right now you can buy comic books up there. It's awesome. They're wonderful. They're sci-fi.
I misspelled it.
Roadside Hang is a different guy. Yeah, it's
Hank.
Yeah. Or if you go to lunduke.com, there's a post on the top there. You can get the first 2 issues right now in DRM-free goodness.
Did you say this is your comic book?
For 99 cents. That's my comic book.
This is Brian's
That's
comic
my comic book. This is some of what I've been working on while I've been on sabbatical. So you can pick up the first 2 issues for 99 cents for both. You get them in PDF and CBZ formats, which are like the freest formats you can think of, like especially CBZ.
Is it?
Check this out. If you're talking about like getting a comic book, because I don't like DRM encrusted formats, right? I don't like formats that are all get bottled down by copyrights and everything else. So what a CBZ is a freaking zip file with pictures in it.
Right. Pretty straightforward.
That's how you read a comic book. You buy that from me. You get this little CBZ file. If you're in Linux, you can read it in like almost every like document viewer has CBZ.
Like the built-in like GNOME viewer does it just fine.
It's great. Yeah. So lunduke.com, you can buy them both for 99 cents. Ta-da! And then if you go to radicalbreeze.com, you can buy Illumination Software Creator, which directly supports the Lunduke SDK project, which again is fully open source, which if you want to be involved in, head on over to radicalbreeze.com/forum. We're building a community right now for people who want to be involved, who want to bring that to new platforms and add new platforms to it. Very cool stuff. That's all I'm going to say on that.
Now we should thank Awesome Sauce for joining us in the. Come say hi to everybody.
Come say hi.
Our first in-studio guest for the Linux Action Show, which is really cool. It's kind of a
no.
It's not our first?
No.
Oh, no, it's not? Okay, well, sit down so they can see your head.
And in-studio guest, which is cool. This guy right here.
Oh, he's not our... Yeah, you're right. He's not our first.
This one's right here.
Who's your friend?
This guy.
Say hi to your friend.
Connor.
Okay, now Connor.
Hi, Connor.
There's apparently this jagoff named Connor.
Yeah, get out of here. Oh my God!
There's this guy. There's this guy out there named Connor. We learned about Connor from our good friend here.
Yeah.
And apparently Connor is a big Linux guy. He loves Linux.
In fact, he got Awesome Sauce into Linux.
Into Linux in the first place.
Which mad props.
Now, you informed us that Connor does not actually watch this show. We're very confused about this. Now, if you have a friend who is not watching the Linux Action Show,
this is a problem you need to fix.
Uses Linux or is interested in Linux or thinks computers are spiff, why are they not watching this show?
Brian, can I just suggest something?
Make this happen.
This is the year 2012. We may not be here after December 21st. Do not let this opportunity pass you. Get people watching the show. Time is running out, people.
Do not let this opportunity pass you by.
Time is running out. Get them watching last now. Coming at you.
You're getting ready with the Billy Mays channeling.
Yeah,
I love that. Man, I've missed Billy Mays channeling from Chris.
All right, everyone. Well, here's the details. Linux Action Show is live on Sundays over at jblive.tv at 10 a.m. Pacific.
So true.
And we release later on Sunday
over at JupiterBroadcasting.com. You can get it in HD, you can get it in mobile, you can get it in OGG, you can get it in MP3, you can sign up for RSS feeds, get the show weekly.
I like all those things.
You
Those are good so far.
I know,
That's
right?
like 5 fingers of things.
It's kind of incredible.
That's the 5-finger guarantee from the Linux Action Show.
Plus, links to everything we talked about are in the show notes. You just find them over at the episode post.
And here's the great thing. If we forget to put a link in the show notes, what you can do is pester us about it, and we won't do anything about
You
it.
can always put it in the comments.
You can always put it in the comments. You can add it yourself.
There you go.
That's right.
All right, everyone. Well, thanks so much for tuning to this week's episode of the Linux Action Show, and we'll see you right back here next week.
Oh, and wait a second. Because the chat room, as we've been recording this show, has been asking this repeatedly. Yes, I am back for good. I am here. I am not going on sabbatical again next week. I am back.
No.
Go read my blog at
if
lunch.com
either
for
one
more
of us,
info.
I think if either one of us need to take a day off, which maybe I might one of these days, I think we could twist Alan's arm and he'd come back on and
Oh, yeah.
he'd fill in.
Oh, speaking of which, because I haven't said it on the air yet, pimpin'ly good job, Alan. Subbing in. You did a great job.
Yeah, he totally was a
He
pimp.
rocked it. I know you're a BSD guy, Alan. Know you love the BSD. I know you hate Linux. I know you hate that
I don't
kind
think
of
he
freedom.
hates it.
That's cool, Chris.
Okay.
It's cool. I still respect your opinions, dude, and you did a good job. Even though you're a BSD-loving Canadian, still did a great job.
There you have it. All right, now, I think that's everything.
That's it. Yeah,
All right, everyone.
There's no more show anymore.
We'll see you right back here next week.
Totally. Those are boogers. Internet? I have a booger. Hanging out.
You don't talk like that.
What do I talk like?
I don't know, but that sounds like Mayor Quimby.
I don't know how I talk anymore.
Oh, the music's still on.
I feel.
Thank you.
Let's turn the music off.
I'm so Canada
Canada,
routes
whatever.
through the UK for some reason to get out to the net.
Yeah, it's weird.
Yeah.
Over basically just this little
Through
ISDN
the,
line.
through the Queen's mansion, I believe.
Yeah.
They're hooked up to. They got an SSL VPN from Canada to the Queen's mansion.
It's called the Queen's Pipe.
Yeah, the Queen's
Yeah,
pipe. Yeah,
yeah. You get like
and sometimes it gets stuffed.
in the Commonwealth states, they refer to hopping on the internet as taking a pull from the Queen's Pipe.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and sometimes it's a little jacked up.
All right, you get jacked up from the Queen's Pipe.
Is the news? Yeah.
You look great, by the way.
Thank you. You
Your
do too.
hair is phenomenal.
Yeah, I'm going big. You know, I figure nobody remembers little hair. Everybody remembers big hair.
Correct.
So might as well go with big hair. You see?
Yeah. Big hair.
Yeah.
Big hair.
Yeah, big hair.
Chris Fro.
The Hair Action Show. You bet. That's the next show in development. The Fro Show. The Fro Show. That's good. Come on, that's good. We're going to do the Fro Show. All right, B-Man. Let's do the Linux Action Show predictions segment. This is for real this time. We're not even kidding around. In 3, in 2,